Weapon Bequeathed Harmonia, what a name, is the first of the two Night Lords that appear in Night Range DLC, and my girlfriend really likes how pink this boss is. Hi boys, I'm Chris Kress. I beat these Barbie dolls multiple times solo and with teams, and I'm here to bring you an actually useful boss guide. Carry sleep if possible, and let's get straight into it. Also, this video is sponsored by War Thunder, but more on that in a bit. Starting off in Phase 1, I want to mention that in total there are 7 maidens, with each sporting one of 3 weapon types, signified by the tip of their weapon. This will come into play later, but for now, let's cover things every maiden can do, beginning with their close range melee attacks. Here, their most common attack is this double slash into overhead slam, which can be strafed by rolling the first 2 attacks and circling the boss on the third. While you're attacking them, know that they can sometimes block you and do a guard counter. Whenever this happens, simply double roll as the boss turns around for a quick punish. And finally, to create distance, this boss will sometimes do this backwards fade attack. That said, what about closing distance? Well, at mid-range, these guys can jump right back at you with a leaping sweep. They can also do the standing poke attack, which can often follow up into this running poke attack, which can be avoided by rolling once and strafing to the side. Moving on to the skills, they all have 2 moves in common. One is the spear circle, where the boss will crouch down and conjure a small circular AoE. I personally just like to run or roll away twice to outspace the AoE, but you can also spot dodge it by timing it right as the boss stands back up. The other move is the skewer line, which is often used at mid to long range and can be dealt with by simply walking to the side, so don't waste stamina or mess up your positioning if you don't have to. That said, this move can often catch you off guard, so it's always good to keep it in mind and familiarize yourself with this sound cue. Finally, for the weapon-specific attacks, they each have one big signature move. I'll only cover them briefly because they are way more prominent in Phase 2. Heads up, it often appears after the boss holds its weapon horizontally. Anyways, for the spear, it will do a jumping poke into a poke flurry, which you can avoid by dodging the first one before rolling to the side and circling the same direction on the follow-up. The mace will do a double into delayed hammer slam, which you can either outspace or avoid by dodging 3 times. As for the halberd, it will do this wombo combo, which you should super sprint away from. Now, with all that covered, let's talk about how this fight is approached. In both solo and in teams, each player will often have 2 to 3 angels on them at any given time, so learn to keep distance and to not put yourself in a position where you have nowhere to run. One thing to note is that these bosses can micro stagger from nearly anything, with only a few moves they do giving them hyper armor. Make sure to use this to your advantage, as it can trivialize them while keeping you safe. Also, I know it's obvious, but Ash of War attacks and debuffs like Scholar's Ult, Wave of Gold, and Knowledge above all will be great for this fight. I know that was a lot, but trust me, it'll be relevant in both phases. But before we move on to Phase 2, this video is sponsored by War Thunder, the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, available for free on PC, consoles, and mobile devices. Take command of over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships of 10 major nations, ranging from biplanes and armored cars of the 1920s to the fighter jets and main battle tanks of today. Boasting one of the most sophisticated vehicle damage models in gaming, every vehicle in War Thunder is intricately modeled down to its individual components. Engines, fuel tanks, weapons, crew, you name it. They're all susceptible to damage or disabling from enemy fire. Not only that, but different types of armor, shells, and missiles behave just like their real-world counterparts. And what better way to show this than with War Thunder's impressive X-ray view. If your vehicle or an enemy is destroyed, you'll see precisely where the shell penetrated, which components were affected, and what ultimately led to the destruction of the vehicle, allowing you to learn from past mistakes or develop strategies on how to counter certain enemy builds. I personally really like this game's attention to detail, as you can see just how much thought and care went into making it. So what are you waiting for? Play War Thunder now for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or mobile devices. Use my links in the pinned comment or video description to sign up. New players and those who haven't played in 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack on PC or consoles. This includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account. Available for a limited time only. Back to the video. Once all 7 maidens are down for the first time, or if the HP bar reaches around 75%, Phase 2 will start. The last maiden to go down will then revive and turn pink, which by the way, I'll be referring to as the leader moving forth. Anyways, the entire squad will then rise into the air and commence the Angel Rush. As it's just counting to 7, cause from 1 through 6, each angel will rush to your location and leave behind damaging trails. Then on 7, multiple will rush you at the same time. Now, while this is happening, a giant veil will appear in the background, signifying the attack range of the combo ender, the Spear Rain. Now, before I explain how to dodge this, here's how the attack works. 1. The angels have no contact damage when rushing you. It's all in the trails. 2. This took me a few expeditions to figure out, but the initial positioning of the angels is based on the boss rather than the player, specifically using this pattern. For this reason, the angle in which the trail shows up can vary vastly depending on your positioning, causing it to seem random at times. But it's not, it's just different. 3. The spear rain at the very end does 100% physical damage. Some of you already know where I'm going with this. Now with all that mentioned, after 12 expeditions and a headache, here's the dodge I managed to cook up for solos or for the guy who the boss is locked onto in trios. Starting it off, as soon as you see the leader rise up, put a bit of distance between you and the boss. Not too close, not too far. Around where the legion covers around 30-ish% of your screen. Then, as the attack begins, start counting. From 1 to 2, run backwards to the left. On 3 to 4, directly to the left. At 5 to 6, backwards to the left again. And on 7, activate Surge Sprint. I find that actually saying it helps me keep track. Back, back, left, left, back, back, super sprint. Okay, I messed up the timing there, but you see my point. Anyways, finally, when the spear rain arrives, block. This works because every single weapon in this game, for some reason, has 100% physical block. At first, I thought doing this would clip you, but so far, I'm 7 for 7, and every time I took 0 damage. And it seems people on Reddit can back me up. Initially, the plan was to run outside of the Veil's reach. However, I soon ditched that strategy as I realized not everyone has the stamina required. Or at least, I couldn't figure out a way that works with every character. Anyways, some of you might be screaming, but what about the other 2 teammates? And I'm not gonna lie, if you just stay away from the guy the boss is locked onto, you can just react to each trail individually, and you'll often make it out relatively unharmed. That said, if you know the strafe, tell your team to let you land a finishing blow, and to run to the top right, as the strafe will create a huge pocket, allowing your team to safely escape the Veil. Now with this giant combo fully covered, note that this attack only occurs when a new leader is elected, meaning at the start of phase 2 or after you beat the previous leader. So realistically, you'll only ever see it around 2 to 3 times each fight, which caused me so much pain. Wow, that took a while. Now let's actually talk about the leader's moveset. If you're wondering what stayed, it's practically every move from phase 1 except the guard counter. As for what changed, the boss can no longer easily micro-stagger and that they gain a grab attack, which I'll cover later, but more importantly, a whole lot of pink attacks. Let's start with the teleport AoE. This attack is telegraphed when the boss raises their arm upwards before disappearing and reappearing with a big AoE. In solos, you can simply start running as the boss disappears, but in trios, the boss can use this to teleport between teammates, so make sure to help them out with callouts, or if you're the one it's targeting, get ready to run when you see a red circle on you, or when you notice your character is flashed with this pink effect. Moving on, the spear circle gets 2 enhanced variants, telegraphed when the boss crouches down and all goons gather at her location. Back off and pay attention to the tip of the spear. If you see lines point out in a star-shaped pattern, trails will form on the ground, which will appear in 2 waves. Whenever you see this, navigate to the gaps for the first wave, and on the second, return to the trail you just avoided. However, if you see a ripple effect, a ring-shaped AoE will form, pulsing 4 times and getting bigger and further away with every pulse. It appears that the rings can't be jumped, so try your best to position yourself in between them. Also, this move buffs all angels for 15 seconds, with the amount of stacks depending on how many non-leader angels are alive when it's cast. A friend of mine is pretty sure it works like this, which is definitely a bigger disadvantage in solos. Next up, I hope you know which weapon type the leader is holding, because their signature move also gets buffed and will appear way more often. Also, this is telegraphed when the boss raises their weapon and the tip turns pink. Starting with the mace, know that the entire thing can be avoided by simply super sprinting away. I'm saying this now, because close up, it's a bit more complicated. It basically goes like this: bonk into double bonk, into scoop, bonk, and scoop, with that last attack being a jump punish. Double jump even. It even works with the running away strat. Moving on, we have the spear. This one consists of a flying poke, into poke flurry, into scoop, and land. Dodging this attack is all about going to the side. Roll to the side on the first hit, then again on the flurry, before circling in the same direction. Then dodge the scoop, keep circling, and jump the land. Finally, we had the halberd, which consists of a forward rushing wombo combo into triple sword beam. As soon as you notice this move, run backwards to avoid the wombo combo. Then as you see the boss jump backwards, slow down and get ready to dodge 2 horizontal beams and 1 vertical beam. I personally like to roll the first 2 and walk to the side on the third. With the signature moves covered, let's talk about an attack everyone gains. The grab, where the boss will try to lunge forwards and, crucify you. For this attack, my friends and I found that the most consistent way to dodge it was to stand in place and roll backwards right as the boss reaches you, ensuring that you get that free ult charge, or if you're Undertaker, an entire ultimate. This attack can appear at longer ranges, and since any random goon can use it too, keep an ear out for that signature grab sound effect. Lastly, we have two distance creating attacks. One is the quick sideways slash, which functions similarly to the backwards fade, and the other is the X summon, telegraphed when the boss points her arm to the side and her fist glows pink. Two angels will then show up and rush you. This attack can be dealt with by simply super sprinting forwards or backwards as they appear. Though backwards is usually a safer bet, as this move is often accompanied by a follow-up, and specifically mentioning this near the end because distance creating attacks such as these will very often follow up into more dangerous attacks such as the signature moves or grab. I'm not saying that it guarantees a follow-up, but they can be a very good indicator. Anyways, that should be everything covered. Now let's talk about how to approach this fight. The way I see it, in solos, you're mainly focused on the leader like 90% of the time, while her goons try to annoy you by spamming grabs or skewer lines. And in trios, it's the same thing, but instead of one guy having constant aggro, the boss will switch between teammates. If the boss isn't focusing on you, do the same thing you did in phase 1. Try to eliminate any angels you can, while keeping an eye on the boss and a certain pink teleport. But if the boss is focusing on you, keep your eye on them while looking out for random grabs or skewer lines. That said, you could do the opposite and bait out the grabs instead. It's a double-edged sword after all. Though not gonna lie, if you're Undertaker, it's way sharper on their side. Also, I haven't mentioned it all video, but here's where you should pull out your sleep stuff, as it can fully incapacitate them just like they do with the Godskins. I didn't play around with this too much since I like to focus on movesets, but it's probably better to save it until phase 2 so the boss doesn't build up resistance. The best sleep sources are definitely the Sleepy Ruins, Marshes, and the Great Church in the Forsaken Hollows, with the bosses often dropping weapons with the attacks inflict sleep buff, and that the nearby crates and chest drop greases and sleep pots. Also, if you're lucky, the little merchant will sell you St. Trina's sword. Finally, before I end this video, here is a bunch of random useful information. 1. Aside from the start of phase 2, whenever a new leader is chosen, the mace one seems to have a higher priority than the others, assuming it wasn't already the leader before that. 2. When the leader is slain, you'll have a small window to attack the other angels. They heal, but the damage to the main HP bar is still dealt. Don't dwell on it for too long though, cause positioning is really important for dodging the angel rush, and cause disabling them might mess up your counting. 3. They are crazy worth it to parry. Both variants go down in one parry, and iframes in general are super good in multi-boss fights. Also, look at all these bodies. I only reposted them with a random great shield. 4. Since the non-pink ladies can be macro-staggered by almost anything, even fists, things like periodical glint blades, Guardian's extended whirlwind, and shield shockwaves are pretty good against them. And while we're on the topic of Guardian, 5. Know that this entire fight is 100% pure physical damage. Melee attacks, skewers, pink beams, no other damage type whatsoever. This basically makes it so that Guardian is actually their hard counter, as Bro can block basically everything on top of having multiple ways of micro-staggering. 6. Here's their full resistance sheet, courtesy of ScavengeX on YouTube. Lastly, before I show you the full fight, I'd like to once again thank our sponsor, War Thunder. Don't forget to play it for free on PC, PlayStation, or mobile devices now using my links in the pinned comment or video description. New and returning players that haven't played in 6 months will receive a massive bonus pack across PC and consoles, including multiple premium vehicles and other goodies. Available for a limited time only, so make sure not to miss it. If you would like to support me even further, I also have a Ko-fi and Patreon linked in the description. Anyways, yeah. That's the Balancer's Guide done. If this video helped you out, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Spread the word that actually useful boss guides do exist, cause I need to feed my cat. But anyways, here's the full fight for anyone who wants it, and I hope you have a great day. By the way, you gotta see how I end the fight.